Hey, this is Notser, and this is the Tier 5 Premium Italian Battleship, Giulio Cesare. As far as the recommended build for the Giulio Cesare, it's pretty straightforward. We've got main armament, aiming mod, also lower chance of flooded fire. The aiming mod did not exist prior to the adjustment to the dispersion, where they changed it from basically cruiser dispersion to battleship dispersion, so I'm glad they added it on the ship. It was not on it when I tested it. For my commander, preventative maintenance, expert marksman, adrenaline rush, basic firing training, vigilance, advanced firing training, and concealment. It's a very safe build. You can adjust it, of course, but this works all the time for every battleship at pretty much every tier, so why not try it at tier 5? There is slight overabundance of aircraft carriers compared to higher tier. It's just easier to play, and there's not as much AA in the game. So that's why I would lean towards an anti-air build. As a battleship, you will see aircraft try and attack you. Let's cover the playstyle now. And we're going to go beginning to end of this game. It was a really enjoyable, competitive game. It shows pretty much everything I want to show off about what I value in this ship's strengths and what I try and minimize in its weaknesses. And one particular weakness that I don't want to explore right now is its inability to mitigate damage with its armor. I really hated the spawn I got in this game, and the reason I hated it is there was no friendly destroyer that was forward of my position. We had one that spawned in the center and one that spawned in the west, and I spawned all the way in the east. And as I'm moving east to west, I'm firing on targets behind islands. I haven't been spotted because of this. And that's a great aspect of the Giulio Cesare. It has great speed, has a pretty fair reload, good accuracy, not as good as it used to be, but it's still really good compared to the competition at tier 5. Let's face it, early to mid-tier battleships are highly inaccurate, and you can't really rely on the shot placement. Not like tiers 8, 9, and 10. Tiers 8, 9, and 10 battleships, I pretty much aim and fire and I hit the target, I hit where I want, not down here. So this is kind of an oddity, that it is very consistent with its shot selection. Now we continue to move east to west, but at this point I'm noticing, well, a enemy destroyer that has run aground has pulled an Notser, and I would like to punish this guy, but he of course is behind an island, just outside of my line of sight. But also, look at the enemy team. They are pushing to the western side of the map too, and that is not very good. I can't mitigate the damage. I have to rely on my range and my maneuverability to get me out of jams. So, I recognize this. I can't engage that enemy destroyer. He's just moving back. He's out of line of sight too. I'm going to turn and go back to the eastern side of the map. I'm going to keep the island in between myself and the enemies. Ships 101. Now, it is far more important that you do this in ships that are very vulnerable to fire. Cruisers, light armored battleships, destroyers that want to fire, you got to be careful. Don't throw your ship away. It's so early on. And somehow we get a citadel on that cruiser. But I make an effort to always fire at a cruiser whenever possible. It is an accurate ship. It really is. Yeah, it's not as accurate. I can hear the haters already. But it's still better than 99% of the battleships at tier 5. So we're going to head back. Speed's great. Turn radius is fantastic. Rudder shift is very responsive. There's not a single weak point of the maneuverability. The concealment is pretty fair too. the weak point comes to that armor, and you don't want to test the armor. You just don't want to. So as we're coming back from the western side of the map, we're going to fire on this enemy cruiser. And it does kind of look like the enemy, we just barely missed, just a skosh too high. It does kind of look like the enemy is leaving the eastern flank vulnerable to an aggressive push. I am very interested in possibly exploiting this fact. Friendly Alba is dealing with the Mutsuki. Or the Mutsuki, I know it's the Mutsuki, but that ship is awful. One of the worst ships in the game. Just one of the worst. The amount of guns it has, its tier, blah, 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 you get the idea. And he actually rams the guy. He gets Die Hard. And, of course, that was just great. I think that's fantastic. If he watches my content, great job, man. That was a good job of catching that enemy DD. Now there's only one left. DDs are the counter to battleships, and if we can get rid of that, you know what? All cruisers, enemy battleships, they're good to go. Aircraft, of course, is an issue, but it's not a big issue to the Giulio Cesare. It really doesn't feel like it cares about aircraft. Of course, if they had a concerted attack and it was 2 aircraft carriers, we're going to take damage, but it feels pretty good. So, enemy Fuso shows a little bit too much side. We definitely punish, and that's great, but that's not my goal here. My goal is to use my speed to relocate. I am the fastest, most heavily armored ship in this sector, and that is my advantage. I can avoid torpedoes, I can avoid shells from something like the pocket battleship of the Graf Spee. I bet the Graf Spee wishes it had this much armor. I don't give up much to the Graf Spee in firepower or rate of fire or maneuverability or whatever. Yeah, he has torpedoes, yeah. But I can turn on a dime. I'm very quick. I give up maybe 2 or 3 knots to him, maybe 4. And my guns are way better than him. Just saying. But I'm not going to go after him. He's playing very passively. He's in the back. Instead, I'm going to engage this enemy cruiser that's closer. And he sets me on fire, of course. It's only 1 fire, though, so we're not going to put the fire out. This ship doesn't feel as vulnerable as the October Revolution is to fire. And I just want to play it like every other ship. I just want to hold for 1 fire, put it out for 2. Just like every other battleship. And we got a Citadel in a very awkward angle for him. But because of the gun caliber, I could do something that maybe the Graf Spee can't, or even a cruiser. I can penetrate the armor and get to the Citadel of a lightly armored cruiser. And that's exactly what we did. But we're fast enough that we can basically keep pushing up this tempo. I could conceivably continue pushing towards that enemy cruiser. But I realize, you know what, it's just not going to work out. If he wants to commit, he can keep pulling me away from the team. I don't want to do that. The team is definitely ahead, but not by much. And conveniently, we get an angle on an enemy cruiser. However, he drops off right as we fire, so we slam it in the island. Whatever, right? So I'm going to head back, and I'm going to try and exploit this little window, this little gap between the 2 islands where this October Revolution is pushing forward. Now, my gun caliber is not good enough to overmatch higher tier battleships. Equal tier, and if you have good knowledge of the enemy's bow and stern, quite frankly, I'm a little out of practice. I'm not really familiar with the October Revolution and whether I can use this gun caliber to overmatch the front. But it doesn't really matter because there is a couple cruisers who are showing a little bit too much side. And look how slow this guy's. He's basically stationary. We fire directly at the stationary target, and wouldn't you know it, we get a Citadel, we knock out the guy. And I'm going to angle for the enemy battleship. Most likely, he's firing AP. And there's a little point on the front of this. It's sort of like the hood. You know, the hood doesn't really have spectacular armor, but at certain angles, people aren't familiar with what is higher than average armor. Oh gosh, there we go. We're gonna kill this guy. Back salvo 13, front salvo just enough to kill him. That was great. That was a great salvo. And that's the kind of accuracy this ship has. At medium range, you should absolutely devastate your targets. At long range, you should definitely hit them. You can't really afford to fire at close to medium range, though, that often. If you can kill the target, absolutely go for it. But if the target is going to survive and get a salvo off, it's probably not in your best interest to push forward. Just saying. And we continue to burn. It's only one fire. I'm not going to put it out. Could I put it out? Absolutely, but I'm going to stay disciplined. I've got plenty of heal. There is no aircraft that is available for this ship. What you see is what you get. Damage control and repair party. That's it. That's all you can equip on the ship. And of course, I have premium of both. Why not? We get more damage on that enemy Fuso. Good, accurate shot. Gonna move back though, because if 2 or 3 battleships push forward and I'm pushing forward towards them, well, guess what? I'm not really going to enjoy that. But you can just see how responsive this ship is. When I want to turn in, when I want to turn away, there is no issue there at all. You're not going to get caught out. If you time it just right, you can easily rotate 180 into a different position before the enemy can fire. And I really enjoy that about this ship. It allows me to play my aggressive style where I'm keeping 1 target or 2 targets or pushing in and getting that kill shot and then retreating to a safer position. And some people don't like the way I play because of that, because I show too much side, but it's really calculated. I'm not spotted. I'm showing a ton of side to fire, but I'm going to reorient my ship if and when I see the target shot. The armor is terrible for broad, but it is actually pretty effective if you get a nose on the target. Now I'm looking at the enemy and oh yes, he's fired. So I'm going to drop my speed and I'm going to turn in. And it looks like if I would have just gone full speed, it would have worked out. Clearly the target, maybe he expected a 21 knot battleship or a 24 knot battleship, not a 28 knot battleship. Down here, it's very rare to be that fast. But we've got his broadside. We set him on fire. I did have HE loaded because I expected him to continue coming forward towards me. He's going to burn out. Teammates did a good job. I do switch to AP because he was broadside, but it doesn't matter anymore. The next target is this enemy Bayan. And I would really prefer to not draw fire towards the friendly independents. I'm going to hold my fire until I'm past him. Just being a good teammate. And it kind of looks like the Bayern's going maybe half speed, maybe a fourth, maybe he's moving back. I'm going to fire my AP, and then I'm going to switch to HE. I don't think I have the ability to penetrate his bow with the gun caliber that I'm rocking. It just feels like I can't. But, you know, it's whatever. I'm just rusty. If I was a better player and I had memorized the bow and the stern, it would inform my shot selection more. But because I'm a little rusty, I'm rocking HE. Is the HE spectacular? It's not British, but nothing is, right? So we get a little bit of damage. Friendlies do have them on fire. We're not going to see a fire set. The guns are 35%. That's pretty good. It's okay. It is 30 seconds though. So I would prefer a slightly faster rate of fire for the fire chance. You know, can't be picky, right? This Bayern is certainly in a bad situation. He wanted to push with the Fuso. The Fuso gave up too much damage, and now he's caught out and he's going to die. And that's very scary, and that's what I'm trying to avoid. I am definitely pushing forward because I don't feel like he can kill me. I can angle my ship. You will notice, though, that the front guns can easily engage the target, but the back guns can't really. That's the compensation that you have to make for your maneuverability. You are absolutely going to show more side on average than a comparable battleship to get all your guns firing. You just are. But it maneuvers so well, it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter at all. I can wiggle in and out very quickly and feel completely safe. And at this point in the game, we're going, okay, this feels pretty locked up. I feel pretty good about it. Speed definitely allowed me to move to a different flank and engage on my terms. I can't express this enough. If you're playing American, you know exactly what I'm talking about. You can't engage on your own terms. You just do whatever the game allows you to do because you're lucky, you're fortunate that you're even in range of a target. And that's just the issue with a slow battleship. When the battleships are fast, they can keep up with the flank, they can push the tempo very, very hard. I can find the perfect flank to exploit those cruisers who show too much sign. And that's exactly what I did. And that's what you should be able to do every single game in the Giulio Cesare, because you are the fastest battleship at Tier 5. I gotta believe it. I mean, it's so fast, you are almost as quick as Tier 8, 9, and 10 battleships. And this is only Tier 5. And you can see a little bit of the aircraft flying overhead. They're not attacking me right now, per se. We're getting a little bit of damage on them, but it's okay. It's cool. I'm not going to complain, but guns are below average caliber, higher than average accuracy. Range is okay. Speed is fantastic. Maneuverability, rudder shift, all that stuff. Concealment, pretty good. AA protection, good to mediocre. It's fair. It's average. It's cool. It's cool. And that makes a playstyle where I want to use my speed to minimize the number of targets that can engage me, maximize my shot selection by going after cruisers first, and moving on from there. And this game is still close. I still can't believe it. And I was trying to move as quickly as I could towards the October Revolution. We're going to try and rotate and set up our guns on our starboard side. You'll see how quick the turrets traverse. They're good. They're not... Well, are they the fastest? They might be the fastest. They feel like they definitely work. Enemy October Revolution. Showing a little bit too much side. I'm going to fire on him. He's obviously dealing with multiple things. And, oh yeah. We find that Citadel. Oh yeah. Confederate, 4 Citadels, 105,000 at this point. Back guns are almost in position. Not too much time, right? In the time it takes our guns to rotate, it's basically 1 gun cooldown. That's not too bad. If you play the Yamato, it's like 3 gun cooldowns before your back gun can rotate. So yeah, Yamato deals with it way more. And again, full broadside. And again, we find the Citadel. So yeah, this game is over. Enemy aircraft are going to try and attack me, I believe. You could conceivably maneuver for aircraft just because the rudder's reactive, the turn radius is great, the speed is awesome. But it still is a battleship. It's still bulky. It's a long ship too. So torpedoes are an issue. If you show too much side, it's going to be easier for the enemy to hit you. You need to minimize that profile. Obviously, 2 fires, I put them out. Now I'm going to be aggressive pushing around this. I know I'm spotted. I know the Graf Spee is going to try and torpedo me. I don't care. I want to try and get a broadside Citadel on him and kill him. And I'm going as quickly as I possibly can. Max speed. All ahead full, Commander, and yeah, he's going to be right in front of us. There he is. He fires broadside. He does okay damage. Now, he angles, and because he's a light cruiser, basically, with battleship guns, we get pretty good damage. And I should be able to, yeah, if the game continued on, I would be able to dodge those torpedoes. Just through my speed and my maneuverability. And Vigilance is a good pickup to protect that long ship at Tier 5. At Tier 10, Tier 9, Tier 8, it's not long. But compared to the stumpy ships that are the Germans and the Americans, and not really the Japanese, but compared to most, she's pretty long. 1710, base XP, 4 kills, 2 aircraft shot down, mostly AP. Nobody really got to fire on us because we used our concealment, the islands, and our speed, which that ship is great. I hope this was informative. I hope this helped you decide if you want to purchase it or improve your playstyle. I hope you have a fantastic day, and I'll catch you next time.